First off, listen, thanks everyone for joining. Great to have you here with us. I'm excited to introduce to you our panelists today. I think they have a breadth of experience that certainly I'm excited to see their insights and share their insights and experiences, and trust that it's going to be of value to you all. Just a couple of housekeeping events just before we kick off. We are recording the session, of course, because then we'll be able to share it back with you so you can review afterwards. And for people that didn't register, obviously, it gives us the opportunity to share with them. We're going to be together for around 45 minutes. And I think that what I always like about the opportunity of joining events like this is the opportunity to share. We were just talking prior to people starting logging in of the fact that there are a lot of common challenges that exist within the CX community that we all face. It's just we don't know that everyone is facing those challenges because in a lot of cases we don't share that. So today's an opportunity to share that, and I welcome in the sort of the chat, welcome the opportunity for people to share their thoughts, their experiences, and questions. Right, happy to address questions at the end. We've allowed enough time to participate in that. I think let's kickstart the whole process, right? Let's get some introductions. First off, even though for some bizarre reason that says I'm Eric Sangamar, I'm not actually Eric Sangamar. Something very strange with technology. I'm actually Owen McKee. Part of my role within Simplesat is managing sales, primarily in North America, but also responsible for developing our partnerships. And that is around technology partnerships and people that help position us as an organization. And we complement those technologies in terms of taking that product to market. One of those partners is, of course, Gladly. We're very excited that we're partners with them. We believe that it gives a strong go-to-market presence. And this concept of better together really does position us as a brand to deliver excellence to those customers. I'm also delighted to say that Stephanie from Rent the Runway is one of those customers. So I'm hoping she's going to share lots of positive things about their experience of working with both Simplesat and with Gladly. Maybe we can just start with some introductions. Maybe Nidhi or Stephanie, just give us a headline introduction of who you are, your role, and maybe even tell us a little bit about Rent the Runway for those people that are not familiar with it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Owen. So I'll start with Rent the Runway and I'll tell everyone a little bit about myself. So Rent the Runway is a clothing rental and subscription business. We have three main products. We have clothing rental like memberships. So monthly memberships, you get a certain amount of items a couple times a month. We also have Reserve, which is another part of our business where you get one-time rentals for events where you can rent for 4 or 8 days. Then we also sell our inventory as well. And so we are a 15-year-old company that's been around for a long time, really trying to make women feel amazing and having them try out amazing new fashion. And it's a pretty cool place to be. But in terms of myself, my name is Stephanie. I am a director of CX systems, operations, and programs. I've been at Rent the Runway for a little over 3 years now. My focus is really on the technology and improving the technology for the customer support organization that we have. We have around 200 and some people spread out across the US, and I just ensure that they have the best technology. I implemented and optimized Gladly and added Simplesat as well, which has been an amazing experience so far. And then prior to my time at Rent the Runway, I was at Allbirds for 5.5 years. So I've been in the industry for around 9 years as a CX practitioner across various roles, from being an agent to now really focusing on optimizing these tools that we have.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Stephanie. Nidhi, I know you're a relative newcomer to the Gladly environment, but please share us some details of yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I am relatively new to Gladly. Hello, everyone. My name is Nidhi, Senior Manager of Product Marketing at Gladly, and I have been in tech for several years now. And while I am new to the CX space, I have worked across different industries where the focus has always been on, creating authentic, lifelong relationships between businesses and their customers. And for a bit of background on Gladly, we've been in the customer service space for around 10 years now. And we've had the chance to partner with amazing brands like Nordstrom, Warby Parker, Crate & Barrel, and of course, Rent the Runway, all companies that really care about delivering standout service. And we were founded on a very pretty simple idea, which is that customer service should be built around people and not tickets. And while, you might have other vendors who claim that they are customer centric, at Gladly, it is a core tenet of how our product is designed and continues to evolve. So instead of, looking at tickets and cases, we took a totally different approach. Every interaction within Gladly from a customer, whether that's over email, chat, SMS, or phone, all lives in one lifelong conversation, which is really where the Gladly difference kicks in. It creates a very comprehensive customer context, which empowers agents with everything they need to deliver radically personal service and also reduces ticket duplication. And on top of this, we layer AI, which is obviously like a buzzword right now, but we have both conversational and agentic AI that leverages that understanding to help with our goal, which is to help you all create lifelong loyal customers by delivering highly personalized experiences at scale. So that's a bit about that.
That's perfect, Nidhi, and I'm looking forward to deeper diving into some of those innovations that you're working on, and some of which we've had exposure to, and some of which hopefully you can share some of those insights that are coming, and from Stephanie's perspective, of course, how she envisages deploying those across the business. But finally, last but not least, Pete, maybe you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about you and your role within Simplesat.
Sure. Good day, everyone. I'm Pete, product expert at Simplesat for a little over 2 years now. For those less familiar, Simplesat is an easy, engaging survey tool for businesses of all sizes, dedicated to service excellence, helping our clients to truly listen to customer needs and adapt to them as well. So no matter the size of your business, from startups to large enterprises, we got a package to match, and our plans are actually designed to scale with you. In my role at Simplesat, I have the privilege of working directly with our customers, gaining firsthand insights into their unique needs and challenges. And as someone who also wears different hats in the organization, so from sales, onboarding, implementation, support, and customer success, my most favorite thing to do with customers, and this isn't really a secret, is to have that regular check-in to see where they're at, what their goals are, get their feedback and suggestion on the product functionality, and of course, offer support where needed.
Perfect. And there's one common theme throughout the three organizations that I experienced in person recently in Nashville at the Gladly Connect event, is that there's a sense of fun that's brought to each of the organizations and their approach to how we get things done. That life experience can be very stressful. We all operate in a pressurized environment. And I think that fun aspect, it's important that we don't lose that. And I think both Gladly and Simplesat bring that to market. And I believe that that's something that Stephanie takes advantage of. And she as a character certainly brings that to the table as well. Okay, so let's kind of just move through the session. We will be sharing the slides afterwards. Just wanted to touch on what we're looking to try and achieve through the webinar today, and what we see as being the key benefits of attending, but hopefully things that you will learn, things that you can consume, digest, and share with your team as takeaways. You heard a little bit about the company, about Rent the Runway and Gladly's role in that, Simplesat's role in that. But I think what we'll want to discuss today and share our joint experiences is how that meshes together and how that works and why that works, and some of the bumps in the road that we've had, because that happens. We're in a very customer-centric environment. And the challenge with being in a customer-centric environment is, of course, customers, and we're all customers, can be temperamental. And we can't satisfy all of those customers all of the time, despite us trying to do that. So those are things that we're going to try and address, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really interesting session. So without further ado, let's kick into that. So wanted to start with a question for Stephanie, really, because Stephanie's at the front aspect of both of our company's deliverables. She's the person that's tasked with managing that. She's tasked with looking at what's required to run their business successfully. And they are in a high pressure, sensitive arena, because when you imagine you're looking to take an outfit, you're looking to try and take something, you've got a particular theme in mind, getting that right and getting that right at the first time is critical, because that is the customer experience. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, how critical that customer satisfaction is. And also I wanted to address that, the elephant in the room, if you want, is that AI is here. I think we are seeing lots of innovation around AI. There's lots of discussion around AI, but I suspect that not every organization is at the point of deploying AI, but they're looking at how to deploy AI. So my question was, what do you see as the potential for that? I mean, first off, Stephanie, what have you done, or what's on the board for discussion for you to do, and what do you see as being the major impacts that's going to bring to the market, major opportunities for business improvements for yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time for the industry, but it's also kind of a confusing and intense time for the industry because of how quickly things like generative AI have just spiked in the last couple of years. So right now, transparently, we're not doing a ton of AI work at Rent the Runway. We are using one of Gladly's internal features for helping rewrite some the responses that our agents send if they need it, to make it more professional, more friendly. We also have toyed around a little bit with our QA tool, Maestro, to help kind of ask these questions, and it will pull up specific conversations for us that might answer those questions. For example, find conversations where we use the customer's names more than 3 times. We're just kind of trialing that and dipping our toes a little bit. And in full transparency, we are looking a little bit at Gladly's internal tool Sidekick and have started having those conversations. I think my biggest takeaway from Gladly Connect and sitting with a lot of the thought leaders in the CX space was really how many people are starting to dip their toes in, and I don't want us to fall behind, and I really want us to be able to try it. So my philosophy in terms of AI right now for our agents is start slow, get rid of work that's low value, that's not adding any value to the conversation, like where's my return label? We don't need agents handling that one and done type of conversation. We're not adding value to the conversations, but for the things where agents can add value, where we need to take these complex actions within our warehouse management system, those are the things that I see our agents continuing to handle, but potentially with some AI assistance in the beginning to potentially gather that information. So we're starting to dip our toes there in that area and would like to be able to test it this year, but we haven't done much before that. So it's a very exciting time for sure. And I just think customers have very, very high expectations of customer service.
Indeed.
Now more than ever. Really, it's intense. And so we want to be very, very thoughtful on how we approach this we don't want to just turn a flag on and be like, let's see how it goes. We want to be very, very thoughtful, start small, really dive into honestly probably every interaction that we have if we do flip on Sidekick, which is Gladly's native AI tool, and kind of go from there and build and build and build. So it's exciting. We haven't done a ton, but I think being able to provide those quick responses, to be able to provide a really high level of personalization with generative AI is going to be a really exciting thing for us, and something that I think we'll be able to partner with Gladly on. We'll also use some things to probably be able to analyze customer sentiment and feedback by throwing in some pieces of conversations, more so in the future as well, to be able to highlight some trends that we see as we really, really dig into the trends that we have within customer contacts. And so being able to do that more easily with AI will be something we'll dip into more.
Yeah, and I suspect that you're not alone. in being at that stage. I think there's also, and your concept of customers being more demanding is so spot on. And I think what's actually driving that challenge is the fact that we're all using our AI ourselves in our daily lives. And so therefore there's a business expectation that it's going to transform a business, it's going to transform it overnight. I think one of the interesting aspects of it is the feedback from agents at the concept of introducing AI and the fear factor. I know we had a lot of discussions, didn't we, in Nashville about the fear factor and the threat of AI, rather than all the benefits, which clearly the business is looking at all of the benefits. There is the fear factor of people that are currently doing that job. And maybe we can come back to that as a topic, because I think that is an interesting aspect which isn't necessarily fully understood. Because I don't believe AI is going to have the dynamic impact on headcount that people initially thought. But Nidhi, I'm interested in your perspective of that. I mean, Stephanie's given us some good insights, some great sound bites actually there. So thoughts?
Yeah, and I think I'll start where like what seems to be the most interesting point about this conversation about, is AI going to replace humans? And I want to say that at Gladly, we always believed that AI should enhance the human experience and not replace it. So human agents are always going to be there because that's part of providing personalized service, right? It's not about using AI to deflect, but it's about using it to scale personalization without sacrificing that human touch. And you can do that with AI. You just have to implement it the right way. When done the right way, AI can actually contribute to personalization. And we see that happening in a couple of ways. So, as Stephanie mentioned, we have Sidekick, which is Gladly's native AI. It can take on repetitive tasks and create more capacity for agents so that the agent is actually focusing on high impact conversations, building those relationships with customers. And it also gives them a little more room to be actually present in those conversations where they're listening to the customer, building those deep relationships, as opposed to just, let me close this ticket or let me close this case and just move on to the next one. We're creating some more room and that capacity for it. And like Stephanie mentioned, the AI authoring tool, we also have AI-powered summarization. So these kind of tools help agents just move faster through the day and also show up more thoughtfully. Because, for example, with the AI authoring tool, like you have written 50 messages or 100 messages that day, and the 101st message can just be that much more difficult to type out because, how many times are you saying the same thing? At some point, there is a diminishing returns. And that's where that AI can then come in and make sure that the message still sounds on brand. It's still empathetic and still delivering what you want. So small moments like that and small ways of integrating AI like that in your daily workflow can really create those meaningful interactions. And in addition to that, what I'm super excited for and what we announced at Gladly Connect Live earlier this year was a version of Sidekick built specifically for agents. So Sidekick today interacts directly with customers where it takes action on their behalf and answers questions and also hands off to an agent with all of the context. But in the future, we see Sidekick as being more of like a co-pilot for the agent themselves, so that Sidekick will provide, proactively surface responses or insights on next best actions that the agents need to take, and even automate some of the routine steps across the multiple systems that an agent might be using, all with the goal of, reducing burnout, boosting agent productivity, and empowering them to bring that higher level of personalization in the conversations that they're actively taking part in. So I see AI kind of playing a dual role in creating personalization. It can interact directly with your consumers and, engage with them quickly, and also create a level of, hey, we know you because of all of the data that we have. But on the flip side, even when an agent is talking directly to the customer, AI can create all of these efficiencies and just make that process smoother so that the agent is really engaged in the conversation.
Perfect. So I suppose it would be true to say that that's actually just going to drive the job satisfaction of the agent, the quality and feeling of contribution from the agent themselves. I suppose in one aspect, and I don't know whether this would be seen as being a negative from a business aspect or whether it's a consequence of these deployments, but it probably is going to lead to a longer time of engagement, longer period of engagement on the call by the agent if they've done away with those more mundane, the sort of where's my parcel type scenario. If you're getting into those deeper conversations, it's driving quality of the agent, it's driving the personalization, but it does have that the call's going to take a little longer. So, I mean, do you see issues? I mean, Stephanie, that's probably more in your bag of how you would perceive that as someone that's charged or tasked with looking at that. I would see that as a positive, but I'm interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, I think there's going to be change management things that you have to work through with agents for handling more difficult conversations that might take a little bit longer. But I think what we've really been able to see at Rent the Runway is the value of having a conversation with CX. Like, we reduce churn when you talk to our team. Like, we do very incredible work within our organization that adds value. And so for us, yes, there might be a little bit of a slowdown, but there might be an increase in things like CSAT or other metrics that can help drive retention for us and loyalty that are absolutely worth it. Big fan of like meet someone in the channel they want to be met, and you need to take your time, take your time. That's a wonderful thing. I think the quality of the interaction for me is always going to be so much more valuable than the speed of the interaction that we have, especially when a lot of interactions that you can have with customer service can feel very transactional and bad.
Yeah.
So when you have this ability to like build rapport with our agents and our customers and kind of create those connections, that's what we're really trying to do. And we're actually building a lot of outbound teams that are doing that at larger scale now as well, to try to build those connections with our customers and create these one-on-one relationships even more than ever now.
Sure. And I love that. I love that theme of meeting the customer where the customer's at.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it sounds very simple.
Yeah.
But generally, when people are reaching out to agents, there's a level of stress that already exists. And if you're able to address that in a very professional, in a very timely way, I think there's just so many pluses to that from a driving loyalty. And that's interesting that your retention and your churn are dynamically impacted by that, because I suppose ultimately the heart of everything is customer satisfaction, improving customer satisfaction. And I'm just wondering there about getting that real-time feedback, how that's impacting you today, and from a platform perspective, the benefits of the sidekick, right? The sidekick potential introduction into that is how are you going to drive that? And how you look at from a partnership perspective? What are the key metrics that you're looking at from a partner perspective to say this was the right decision to go with Gladly, this was the right decision to go with Simplesat? I'm harmonizing technology because I believe there is this concept of better together, and I see more and more tech organizations synchronizing their offerings. So rather than just being a point solution, they're looking at a total solution. So I'm curious on your views on that and how you've experienced that.
Yeah, I think in terms of better together, I can tell you a little bit about why we decided as a big organization and a group running RFPs to go with Gladly, and then why we decided to go with Simplesat as well, just to get us started. I think Gladly has the very unique part of the market where we're dealing with the customer, not the ticket. And there's a beautiful holistic view of who you're talking to that is easy to understand who the customer is in this moment of time and what might have impacted them while they are contacting you. The other thing that I really loved about Gladly, actually implemented it at Allbirds, they implemented it at Rent the Runway. I'm a two-timer. There are three timers in the world, but maybe one day we'll see. But really, I love just how easy it is to see what's going on with the customer experience, and to seamlessly communicate across all channels. So Gladly, our prior system before was all channels besides phone in one place and then phone on top of it. And that was a major inefficiency. We had agents bouncing between the two places. They didn't speak that well, etc. And at the time we were looking at Gladly, one of the things that we really believe in and still very much believe in is the value of SMS as a channel. And that is a very easy channel to work out of with Gladly. And so if someone chats and they text and they call, you can see all of that, and it's like a one-to-one relationship with who you're working with, versus previously it was like maybe someone answered the call, maybe someone answered the chat, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of why we picked Gladly from like a system standpoint. From a more personal standpoint, I think for me, partnership is like the most important aspect of who I'm working with. I'm a vendor manager within my role, and being able to help kind of collaborate with these teams and get things done and just have these really lovely interactions with the people that I work with is very important to me too. I've met with vendors that don't have that, and I've just been able to, with Gladly, very much create some very thoughtful relationships. And I can very much say the same thing about Simplesat. I've worked so closely with Pete. I have, even before we kind of signed, and I'll tell you why we signed in a second, but even before that, it was just very clear that that level of partnership, collaboration, and just like idea sharing was there. It wasn't transactional. As you can tell, transactional communication is not my favorite thing.
Right.
But we picked Simplesat because when we were implementing Gladly, we were using another CSAT vendor, and we weren't that happy with the vendor. The vendor is fine. It's a big company, but we actually got it recommended from Gladly to look at the tool. And when we looked at the tool, it was just a very easy integration for us with a very beautiful way that if someone gave us a CSAT detractor, it would pop up in the Gladly UI as like a task for anyone who uses Gladly. That's like an internal routable piece of work. And it's just very easy to be able to see holistically what's going on with the customer in Gladly and with Simplesat. So I love that integration. I just went off on a tangent of why I love these vendors so much. But
No, it's great to hear, and I'm sure people joining in the webinar I mean, they can hear your enthusiasm of why that works, and I think that's born out of that desire to deliver customer success. And this concept of partnerships, I think, is something that's going to be much more broadly understood. And because it's being more broadly understood, certainly the engagements that we have on a daily basis with Gladly is around driving joint performance, driving joint metrics that ultimately deliver solutions to you as a customer and many other customers. So, I mean, just as a spin-off from that, Pete, I'm interested. Maybe you can share some things there. Obviously, we're very focused as a business. Simplesat very focused in the retail side of things. Maybe you can share just a few benchmarks, some of the things that we're seeing across the board, not just from our great customer at Rent the Runway, and not just through our partnership at Gladly, but maybe just share a few highlights that come from there.
Sure, thanks, Owen. So, I mean, given Simplesat's focus on the retail space, we do see a few key benchmarks and critical data points emerge consistently across our daily interaction with clients. So firstly, we have the customer satisfaction scores and NPS. So these are fundamental metrics, and we closely track the distribution and trends within those scores to identify areas of strength and potential improvement for retailers. Talking about AI, Simplesat has recently dwelled into the AI space, and we've created a feature called Topics. So what it does is it easily categorizes, any kind of qualitative feedback. So any feedback coming from text or comments on, responses left or additional text in there for the feedback. We actually categorize them using the AI topics and assign predefined topics, sentiment, and additionally, clients can then create, dashboards or widgets containing these topics to see what's trending and where they have to improve on or what they have to continuously doing. So additionally, we do often see retailers focusing on segmenting feedback by touch points, so such as customer service interaction. Not just that, Some also do it by post-purchase, for instance, or others also segment by channel. So it actually allows for a more granular understanding of where satisfaction levels may vary depending on channel or different touch points. But again, just
Yeah.
beyond just the score, the qualitative feedback captured alongside the ratings is incredibly valuable, especially if you're getting a lot of responses within a single day. It's really hard to categorize, those qualitative feedback or those comments, if you don't have the help of AI, for instance, the topics that we have at Simplesat, to actually tell you what sort of information or data or qualitative data is your customer giving you with these comments. So we do see successful retailers actively analyzing open text responses by the use of custom dashboard, for instance, to understand the why behind the scores, uncovering pain points, and also identifying opportunities for service enhancement that a simple thumbs up and thumbs down rating won't provide. Also, furthermore,
Perfect.
in addition to that,
No,
response rates. Sorry.
no, go ahead. I was just going to say what comes across loud and clear there is this: everyone is becoming data driven, right? The transfer of data and access and visibility of data is, I mean, I think we've probably always known it, but we haven't necessarily been able to capture that information and share that across the board, being able to give that unique view. So whether you're looking at CSAT or NPS, at the heart of all of it is the customer. And I think, Stephanie, you've been doing some innovative things of looking at how you're managing and using data within Gladly, and even pulling information out of Simplesat to use in other tools.
Yeah, so we are like highly data driven as a business. I think a lot of what I'll talk about what the business kind of does with CSAT and NPS data, because I think this is something that certainly happens, but it's a very unique and I think like wonderful practice overall. So we have our CSAT data integrated into Slack. And we have basically the whole organization in a channel that reads every comment that comes through.
Wow.
Positive, neutral, detractor. They love it. Our team like loves to read customer feedback and to honestly take action from it. And so with something like an NPS detractor, our exec team sometimes will basically ask a leader in the organization to track down and like dig into exactly what happened, write up a report, and basically fix it in that way. And so there's a really wonderful, I think, just action taken from our team just to really understand those detractors for CSAT and NPS. We also reach out to all of them within our organization. So CX, if you leave us a detractor, hopefully you don't have to, but in NPS or CSAT, we will follow up with you and try to make those things right. It's very, very important for us to try to turn around those experiences, whether it's with the business for NPS or whether it's with our customers as well. So there's a lot of visibility into those two metrics. We talk about it all the time as an organization, and there's just a lot of analysis done in that space. In terms of like contacts that come into CX, I own like the insights and kind of voice of the customer space for CX, and we go in and we drill down into what's going on, create topics and trends and micro trends of what's happening, and share those out with our leadership teams and our executive team as well to try to create these product changes. So we'll just really, we're like deep in the data, analyzing whatever we can do to make sure that we make those changes in product wherever we are. And then high level, like our CEO does a wonderful job with this too. She most recently held a Reddit AMA session and made changes like on the fly when she was getting feedback from our customer as well, which I think is very unique and a wonderful part of Rent the Runway in particular. Like we really do see the feedback and create changes because of it.
Yeah, and I love this thought of her being so involved. And you know what is, I also resonate to CEO looking at detractors, because we have exactly the same feedback mechanism internally. Any detractor coming in on any of our responses to support, he literally is tracking that channel just to see what he can do. And I think also, Nidhi, something also that came out for me out of Gladly Connect was just how engaged Joseph is with customers, how hands-on he is with customers. And I think that's true of Jen as well, Stephanie, right? I think his closing speech, Nidhi, at the event was one of, we're here to help, but we need to know, right? Share. We're trying our best to deliver solutions to you, but we need to understand from you as customers what you need. It's your business. But he was calling out so many people on a first name basis during that keynote. And, you know, we've all been to those events where it looks like it's a plant, but there were people that were surprised that he was calling them out by first name and was able to talk about their specific application. I thought that was very impressive as a business, that CEO still maintaining the engagement. So
I
that's
can
kind of
vouch for that as a customer. Joseph, since 2019, we talk to Joseph a couple times a year during the RFP. Like it's a wonderful example to be able to be close to the customer feedback. He just met with my VP a couple of weeks ago in New York. So he stays close to everything, and definitely has throughout the years that I've worked with him. So it's a wonderful thing.
Sure. And I think, and maybe Nidhi, this is a question to you, is, you know, how much does that CEO engagement, how much does that influence roadmap? Because he's hearing lots of things, and with the best will in the world, a CEO, even if they're product orientated, does understand the difference between balancing business and what the product is capable of doing and how quickly they can deliver that. So are you seeing meaningful changes by Joseph driving product there?
Yes, and I would say, like, the customer first mentality and hearing from customers, that extends to our product and engineering teams in general. And especially in this world where there's so much happening with AI, right? Customer expectations are evolving, the technology itself is changing, and everyone is trying to like navigate what AI means for their service experience. And what we have come to realize is they're not just looking for, hey, I want this, you know, capability, or please do this for me. It's more of a partnership. They're actually looking for guidance to, does this actually make sense? Will we be able to accomplish this with AI? So it's very much a partnership in that sense as well. And we have you know, wonderful customers like Stephanie who are very engaged with you know, our product. And we have the customer advisory board as well, with a number of longtime Gladly champions who have been with us for years, and their feedback directly does influence our roadmap. So yeah, we use all those opportunities to learn about what they are seeing, what they are hearing, because as much as, you know, and being a product marketer, my job is to understand the market, right? And to kind of posit where it's going. But as much as I can put all of my skills and training to do that, it's always best to hear from our customers to see what are they seeing, what are the problems that they're facing, where does their head go when they think of implementing AI. And that way we're actually identifying use cases to expand into with our AI. And yeah, using customers to get that information is super, super essential to actually build a roadmap that will evolve with their needs. Otherwise, you're kind of just building in a vacuum, and no one's going to want to use your product, right?
Exactly that. And I think because of your market presence, the ability to ask the question of why would you want to do that? This is often a conversation that we get involved in. I know for Pete, it's a daily challenge with customers when he's saying, but why would you want to do that? Look, best practice is this, and we're seeing this being adopted at pace because of the value that is delivering, right? And I think that level of engagement has to drive product roadmap, but it also solidifies your position of trust. And I think whenever you're operating in the CSAT space, right, customer satisfaction, NPS, and you're desperate for that feedback, trust is a critical factor. And I'm not sure how we quite measure trust. Maybe it's lack of churn, maybe it's customer loyalty, maybe it is just CSAT, or maybe it's all of those things combined that deliver that value for us. But I kind of knew that 45 minutes was never going to be enough to to cover off all of these things. We were going to put some time aside for Q&A. I can see we had a couple of questions that have come in, so maybe we can address those. Any of the questions that we don't get to address, we can certainly take those offline. But one of the questions that came in was deploying Gladly, deploying Simplesat. I mean, what's your concept of from engagement to deployment? Nidhi, what does that look like?
Well, at Gladly, I can speak to general timelines because implementation does vary, but we do pride ourselves on having a quicker implementation than most other vendors. We do have over 40 out-of-the-box integrations, and I know Simplesat is one of them. So just getting set up with Simplesat and Gladly is actually pretty quick and straightforward. It doesn't require a very heavy lift from dev teams. But even if you do have more, custom needs, we're actually in the process of, creating a product that's going to help you create custom integrations and those deeper integrations even quicker and easier with any provider, and that will again help with implementation timelines in general. But I think I'll lean on Pete here to speak to exact timelines between Gladly and Simplesat and what that integration would entail.
Yeah, because I mean, to your point, while every deployment is unique, well, that's true. We've actually designed the process to be as seamless as possible for customers transitioning, especially from other CSAT platforms. Also, we do understand that like migrating data and ensuring continuity are key concerns as well, especially, if they're transitioning from another vendor. Also, our team has a significant experience in assisting with data migration to bring the historical feedback into Simplesat. And furthermore, our integration with Gladly is a core focus as well. And we've streamlined the connection process to minimize the disruption. So we provide comprehensive support and documentation to guide them through the setup and configuration. While the exact timeline will depend on the complexity of the current setup and the data volume, we do aim for a rapid and efficient conversion so they can quickly start leveraging the benefits of Simplesat alongside with the Gladly deployment.
And that's very much a hands-on experience. It's I think there's a joint team that put that together, the drive all that. I knew we were never going to get to all the questions, but one key question I think maybe you can address this, Stephanie, is just for context. Obviously, you're using both Simplesat and Gladly. What's the sort of size of organization that you're managing today? What's the volume of agents that you have, and what are some of the key metrics that you're looking at tracking?
Of course. We have around, so we have a CX organization, which is around 200 people part-time and full-time. We have a CX ops organization, which is more back-end escalated types of inquiries. That's about 20 people. And then we have like a leadership team as well. So kind of a big organization and a good volume of contacts to keep everyone busy. But we do have portions of that CX team doing some outbound work. If you're a new customer, we might call you and take you through that experience for understanding your membership for a first time. We have some teams doing those sorts of things. In terms of our just overall, oh gosh, what was the second part of the question, Owen?
Just some of the key metrics.
Oh, metric. Yes. Sorry, my brain.
What do you wake up on very early every morning? What do you wake up thinking about?
Yeah, so we measure, our core metrics are quality scores. Michael, who's on this call, owns that. We also measure productivity, so contacts fulfilled by response per hour that the agent is working. And then CSAT as an organization. Those are like three truly main like CX metrics. We also look at NPS, that's more of a business metric. We also look at things like how available are you within the Gladly system to make sure that there's adherence. We started to look a little bit like first contact resolution. There's a lot of out-of-the-box metrics that we really do drill into to get a better understanding from Gladly directly with how our agents are doing. But the core ones are based around efficiency and the quality of the interactions that we have.
All right, perfect. I think that's we're probably at the top of our time. There's probably another 100 questions that we could go through here. The topic's really interesting. thank you all for sharing. Thank you everyone for joining. I think we've probably scratched the surface there. Hopefully the information that we've shared has been useful. By all means, reach out to us if there's follow-up questions. We will be sending out the recording and the deck so that you'll have access to that. And I'm sure Nidhi, Pete, and Stephanie, I'm sure if you reach out to them, they're probably going to give you some deeper insights if you reach out directly to them. And of course, myself, even though I'm not Eric, I'm Owen. We're always happy to help. And I think it's been a pleasure to share our experiences. And I believe that it will continue to grow the relationships that we have of how we take technology to market. So I thank you all. I do have a little poll that I'd like to share, if that's okay with everyone, if everyone has the opportunity to just to complete that. That would be really useful for us. I just launched that. If someone has the opportunity to complete that, that would be fantastic. We'd really appreciate that. But finally, I know it's always challenging to get attendance for people at webinars or events, and we almost seem inundated with opportunities to attend these things. I think it's about the value that you get from that, and I believe certainly I've learned a lot of things today, and it's put a lot of things in context for me today. So thank you all, appreciate it. Stephanie, Nidhi, Pete, thank you for the time. Great to see you, and I've no doubt I'll see you all soon.
Thank you so much, everyone. Feel
Thanks,
free to reach
everyone.
out with questions.